Michal Krizo. What happens when a giant tries to become complete? The first thing people notice about Michal Krizo is different. He is enormous, but that actually he the least interesting part of his story because bodybuilding has never been a completion to see when can simply become the biggest human in the gym. The real challenge is much harder. Can you build a massive body and still make every part of it work together? And that exactly what makes Michal Krizo such an interesting bodybuilder. The what if bodybuilder for a long time. Krizo was almost like a bodybuilding what if. Fans saw the giant arms. They saw thick arms. They saw ridiculous shoulders. They saw physiques that looked almost too extreme to be real. And naturally, the question started spreading. What would happen if this guy stood next to Olympia competitors? Eventually, we found out, but getting there wasn't the easy part. Before the bright lights and massive crowds, there were years of training, dieting, traveling, pausing, and consistency trying to improve weakness. That's the part of bodybuilding the camera doesn't always show. His back, his chest, his biceps is like a giant. The final physics might look effortless. The process is anything but. The anatomy behind those giant arms. Let's talk about the feature that made Krizo famous online. His arms. A lot of beginners think arm size is mostly about the bicep. That only half the story. The triceps are extremely important, and the overall upper arm thickness because they contribute a large portion of the arm mass. That's why a bodybuilder can have an impressive biceps peak but still have relatively small looking arms from the side. Krizo arms create a different visual effect. His triceps add thickness, his biceps create tape, his forearms complete the look, and when all three areas are developed together, the arm can look enormous from almost every angle. That not just genetics, that year of targeting training, the illusions of insane size, his monster physiques is barely popular in bodybuilding. Here's something casual bodybuilding fan often miss. Size isn't only about muscle, it's also about perfections. Think about building. The same principle work with the human physiques. Huge shoulders become more impressive when the waist look narrow. Large arms look even larger when the waist appear smaller. A wide arms makes look more powerful. This is why the famous V taper is so important. The wide the upper body becomes relative to waist, the more dramatic the physics can appear. And Krizo structures make that effect partially notices. But then comes the hard part. Imagine you have spent years become massive. Now you have to make that mass look star, eating, shopping, buying some quality foods to looking massive. That their bodybuilding becomes completely different. Muscle without conditions can look soft. Conditions without enough muscle can look flat. And massive muscle with poor proportions can still lose to a more balanced physics. The goal is bringing everything together on one specific day, not tomorrow, not next month, that day. That's why contest preparations can become a physiological battle. Your body changes, your energy changes, your training changes, your food changes, and you are looking wondering whether the physics you are seeing in the mirror will be the physics that appears under the different the weight room reality. Krizo physics may look like it was created by simple lifting heavy weight, but here the educational lessons. Heavy doesn't automatically mean effective. Muscle growth depend on creating enough mechanical tension and training consistency over time. If someone uses enormous weight with the terrible technique, they may be moving the weight without properly challenging the target muscle. A lighter weight performed with control can sometimes create a much better stimulus. That's why experienced bodybuilder often become obsessed with small details. His physique is monster size, and Krizo is famous at modern bodybuilding at this time in bodybuilding, and he will be become Mr. Olympia one day soon.